Hey everyone, welcome to the Good News Network. Thank you so much for joining us again today. No, you do not need to adjust your sets. That is not Chris White joining me. I am Michael Reynolds, and I am here with my friend Dan Lionett, who is going to be our guest today. But he is also doubling as co-host and guest host in Chris's absence. So thanks for doing double duty, Dan. We'll double your pay since you're doing two roles today. How about that?
Gotta love it. Gotta love the opportunity and always love to jump on and do what I can to help.
Yeah, good deal. So just to remind folks who maybe haven't been around for a while, or maybe this is your first time joining us, so the Good News Network was an idea that came out of some conversations that Chris and I were having about there's a lot of information out there that focuses on things that are not so great, and yet in many of our conversations, Chris and I were noticing that we seem to have a lot of good things going on in our own lives and seeing a lot of that happening around us, and so we just wanted to create an outlet for folks to hear more about that and then also to learn about things that are happening in our community and highlight the good work that folks are doing so folks can get connected to it and or supported in whatever way they'd like to. So that's why we're here, and we are grateful that you are joining us. So Dan, the way Chris and I usually start off is we kind of just talk about something that's a highlight, something that's happened recently that was positive in our lives that we just kind of want to share with folks. So anything come to mind for you?
Yeah, actually I had a busy weekend and on Saturday there was a national movement called the Walk for Lives about fentanyl awareness.
Oh yeah.
Um, it was put on by a national organization called United Against Fentanyl.
Hmm.
And so a group of students for recovery students from the Santa Rosa Junior College here went down to volunteer and make sure that we had a safe walk through San Francisco. We
Oh
started up
wow.
at Franklin Square in the city and did a mile-long walk down to Potrero del Sol Park. We had
Mm.
about 100 people walking.
Wow.
A lot of families of folks that had lost their
Mm.
loved ones, and so
Hmm.
everybody was building community around that idea of we want to bring awareness. We want to keep that kind of bereavement to as much of a minimum as we can, and the
Hmm.
answer is awareness.
Yeah.
So for myself and another about 8 students here at the college, we were able to go down and be a part of that. They had some amazing speakers. We had a little resource fair down there. I mean, the DEA lead for San Francisco was down there.
Wow.
We had several nonprofit organizations, and this was all organized by my friends at Micah's Hugs,
Oh yeah.
um, a, a local nonprofit. Micah and Michelle Sawyer, uh,
Hmm.
uh, great folks, and so it was just a really good opportunity. We spent the whole day in the city. The weather was amazing. We had some speakers, we had some awareness, we had some resources, and then there was a killer band, and we
Mm.
got to sit around and just dig some sunshine in the city and kind of celebrate that the concept that healing happens in community,
Yeah.
and that when we're together everything is a little softer, a
Yeah.
little more fun, and a little more enjoyable, and it was a really great event. So um, for me, seeing that team of people come together, just from my little crew up here,
Yeah.
to be a part of a bigger movement like that, and there was 250 walks across the nation as
Oh
well. So this
wow. So this is oh cool.
a national thing, and actually the event that took place in San Francisco was live streamed. The speaker portion and the park was live streamed um, onto YouTube
Mm.
and for their virtual event, and we also caught a little spot on Channel 7 News down there. So it's
Oh,
kind of cool.
cool. Man, that is great. What a powerful event. As you said, for folks to many, I'm sure, have been touched by the tragedy of fentanyl and to come together and share that and then bring awareness in the hopes that that will prevent others from having to have that experience. So, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. And you may have seen me. I was taking notes. I had forgotten about, we're always looking for more guests on this show to share good works and good things that are happening. And when you mentioned Micah's Hugs, immediately I made a note. I want to reach out to them to see if they want to be a part of sharing what they're
Absolutely.
doing because they're doing good stuff. So
Absolutely.
awesome. For me, nothing nearly that exciting or big in scope, but one of the things that we often focus on here is there are it's the full spectrum of goodness that's happening and having just nationwide events like that to be a part of that, and then also for me something as simple as this morning, a couple times a week I talk to my folks in the morning as I usually walk in the mornings before work or on a break and I'll call my folks and I'm from Central Illinois originally and living here in Sonoma County now, but they're still back there, and so it's just a great way to connect with them, and some conversations are, as with all people, are better than others, but today was a really great conversation. We ended up talking about a lot of like old memories and things that came up, so it was just a really nice way to start the day. So that was a highlight for me.
Nice.
Yeah, so cool. Well, now we'll move into our guest portion so you can switch hats, and I guess I should have introduced you more before, but now that you are in the guest role, I will introduce you as far as your role. I did give your name, but Dan is a part of an amazing group at the Santa Rosa Junior College here in Sonoma County, a group called Students for Recovery that do all kinds of amazing work, put on many events, one of which you just heard that they participated in, and so really grateful that you made time. I know you are a super busy human being, that you are always doing great stuff, and so we appreciate you making time to come share some of that with folks. So welcome.
Glad to be here. And it again, it's always a great opportunity. Whenever I get to share about what we're doing, I really appreciate that opportunity and
Mhm.
just making positive change happen in the community, at the college,
Mhm.
bringing awareness. That's a huge part of what I'm about, and Students for Recovery is about. And
Mhm.
yeah, just very grateful. This is a student-led organization, and funding is what we can make of it, and we do have some nonprofit organizations that have been able to help us out. We've been able to team with the student health services here on campus to
Mhm.
get resources. So a lot of the work that we do is around the fentanyl crisis, and substance misuse in general, and for
Mhm.
that matter, mental health, because it's all connected, as
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
And so we have some support groups that we do here at the college. We get together. I actually just got out of my support meeting where we kind of talk about life and what's going on. And um, we do something. I know there's a lot of people that know about 12-step recovery. We do something a
Mhm.
little different here at the college. I use a thing, Students for Recovery uses a thing called the all recovery format.
Mm.
And it's different. It's not very structured, but the intention is to be inclusive and to be inviting to anyone wherever they're at in whatever recovery looks like for them.
Yeah.
So it's not an abstinence or nothing situation. The
Mhm.
way we do things is more about supporting people where they're at on their journey and making sure that they have a safe place to come and express themselves.
Mhm.
Uh, Especially should they be, still on medically assisted treatment services, for example.
Mhm.
Um, we really want people to understand that uh, in community we heal, and when we try to do things alone, it's just more challenging.
Yep.
And so having that open door to anybody, and for that matter, people who are just interested in what does recovery mean, what is it like to struggle with substance misuse.
Hmm.
We just want to keep the door open, and it's been really a healthy process for a lot of us that, most everybody who ends up in recovery has a lot of experience with 12-step stuff, and
Hmm.
for those of us that's the case, it's been really nice to have more tools in our bag and have
Yeah.
another approach and another perspective. So
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I know you know that, but I'll share, and many of our viewers know, but I'm in recovery as well, and that's what I've found is that, all options are in, right? Like because just like anything, there is no one size fits all, and that's beautiful that you offer because there are a lot of 12-step options in our community and in many communities, and so to offer another option for that for the students is a cool thing. As you're talking, I'm wondering about what's the history behind Students for Recovery? How did it get started? How did you get involved with it? Where did this come from? Where did this idea come from, and how did it get going?
well, my experience with Students for Recovery, it's been an on again, off again thing at the Santa Rosa Junior College for some time.
Hmm.
Um, at the particular moment when I was interested in seeking out some kind of recovery support on campus, I asked my kind of mentor, the human services faculty coordinator here at the college, Jessica Paisley. I said, "Hey, Jesse, what's going on with that Students for Recovery thing?" And she
Hmm.
said, "Nothing. You want to be the president?" And I said, so
Careful what you ask, right?
yeah, yeah. So at that point, it had kind of landed at a really low, where it was they were doing I believe, an AA meeting on campus, and that was attended by the same two people that were,
Hmm.
consistently coming.
Hmm.
And so we wanted to do something a little different, and I got inspired by an opportunity. I guess I've become somewhat of an opportunist here at the college, but
Hmm.
this same Miss Paisley sent out an opportunity to join the Collegiate Recovery Leadership Academy, and I
Oh,
thought
wow.
I thought that sounds fancy, and I also had too much coffee and was doing homework and thought, I'll fill this out. It'll be good practice for me. And so lo and behold, I got an email saying, well, congratulations. Welcome to the Collegiate Recovery Leadership Academy.
Awesome.
Can you join us in Washington, D.C. for a weekend retreat?
Wow.
And on their dime. And
That's beautiful.
this was an outfit called the Safe Project, the Stop the Addiction Fatality Epidemic.
Mm.
Um, so I got to go, free ride to DC and go to a recovery summit back there, and that's where I learned about this all recovery format and kind of this idea that inclusivity is such an important part of
Right.
making sure that everyone in the recovery, or those trying to be in the
Mhm.
recovery community, have a safe and comfortable space to be. And
Mhm.
so that's when I was introduced to that, I automatically thought, you know what, let me come back to the college and uh, give a look at, is this an option that we could use? And at the time, I was in a social advocacy for change class,
Uh-huh.
which was very convenient because I was able to convince five other students to join me on the cause of
Wow.
reinvigorating Students for Recovery and checking out this all recovery format thing. And it was actually created by some students that were in recovery and just felt like the 12-step movement was great, but not serving everyone.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to find something to be a little more inclusive and a little broader of capacity to have people join and feel safe. So
How
um,
cool.
yeah, and
So
it's
the
been
all recovery format was started by students.
I believe so. I believe
Wow,
so.
how cool. That is so cool. Just that the seeing a gap and filling it. That's what a beautiful story. Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel that I aspire to continue to to move towards just lessening stigma, bringing the conversation out of over there in that room and into, the main hall.
Hmm.
I
Uh-huh.
think it's so important that, especially given the certain, the current situation we're in, it's so important that the conversation be had in the big room. The
Yeah.
conversation be had because, yeah, we need to protect our young people. We need to, you know, collective mental health has to be open conversation. Let's
Mhm.
help each other heal and make life a more comfortable place to be for everybody.
Yeah, as you're talking, Dan, I think, this idea has come up a few different times in different ways, but you talked about connection and community, and then, how important inclusivity is for recovery, and then this idea of, I think you just said community mental health, like all of those things, I think are so fundamental to the health of an entire community, um, and it, and thinking about how that disconnection in my own life, that even when I had people around me not feeling like I belonged and that sort of thing, and just started, and then as I've grown in my recovery, realizing that it's a spectrum of recovery and mental health, and as you said, all the overlap that goes with that, and one of the things you said about bringing it into the open room, because the recovery group that I spent the most time in was Celebrate Recovery, and they focus similar to, I mean, it is 12-step based, but they also kind of widen it. Be only about a third of the people there go for substances. They're there for other behavioral health issues, whether it's anger or overeating or codependency or all these things. And there is no one who does not have something that is an ineffective, unhealthy coping mechanism that we lean on. Some of them are celebrated in our communities.
Mhm.
Workaholism, for instance, consumerism, those sorts of things are celebrated. However, they're not necessarily healthy for the individual or the society. And so I really appreciate what you just said about bringing it out of that room of this identified group who are in recovery to, hey, how do we create a community where everyone has an opportunity to connect, to live out their purpose, and to continually increase their well-being. So that is beautiful, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and actually with the all recovery format, I went with the general outline, but here at Students for Recovery at Santa Rosa Junior College, we some of the items you just mentioned, shopping,
Yeah.
gambling,
Yeah.
codependency, sex and love, all of those
Yeah.
things, all addictive processes are part of what we address here at the college.
Mm.
So, and absolutely, I think the guy who's got the biggest problem in life is the one who has convinced himself that he doesn't have any problems in life. That might
Yeah, I
that
think
might be an
that
issue.
I think they call that denial, right?
Yeah,
I've heard that somewhere along the line. Yeah, yeah. If you don't get past that one, you're
yeah,
going nowhere quick, right?
sure, sure.
How cool. So, I mean, amazing work. I'm interested in that because I know I've been to many of the events that you have hosted. And so can you talk about some of those other things, some of the other ways that you bring awareness and bring the community at large into this conversation, and some of the ways you do that to build that connection?
Yeah, something comes to mind. We just recently did an event here at the college, and we called it. we called it Save the Youth. And the idea
Mm,
was based around the fact that unfortunately, a lot of young people are being lost in the fentanyl crisis.
yeah.
We actually had a Santa Rosa Junior College EMT student uh, pass away recently. Um, and the idea was to commemorate some of those that we've lost and
Hmm.
celebrate them.
Hmm.
And we were fortunate enough to have the mother of the student who
Oh,
passed
wow.
away come and
Wow.
speak. And of course, I had my friends at Micah's Hugs were here, and Micah is always willing to speak and tell his story a little bit.
Mhm.
But we we made it a community-wide event, and the community part was a huge part of it.
Mhm.
We honored a group of high school students from the Santa Rosa High School
Mhm.
because this school club at the Santa Rosa High School had started the Civil Unity Club at the Santa Rosa High School. They had a fentanyl awareness 5K run, and that kind of really caught our attention, Students for Recovery's attention. So
Mhm.
what we did is we brought them on campus and honored them, and
Mhm.
also asked if they would be our sister club. So
Wow.
it's been a really it's been a really difficult process to get into the school systems, to get into,
Mm.
the high schools and even the middle schools,
Mhm.
to kind of bring this awareness and bring this message.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, sometimes it takes loss to
Right.
have change like that
Yeah.
happen. So
Yeah.
when we lost those students, things have gotten a little more, open
Mhm.
on that level. And
Mhm.
yeah, I just heard that my friends at Micah's Hugs are going to be doing the entire West County school
Mhm.
system. They're going to
Wow.
be doing a Narcan training for like 1,500 students in
Oh
Western
my
Sonoma
gosh.
County.
Wow.
And yeah, and that's because of this kind of movement that, hey, you know what, the message needs to be louder about awareness than the message about loss,
Right.
because
Yeah.
we're going to have both. But if you're stifling the awareness message, we're going to have more of
Yeah.
the scatter of the two.
Yeah. Yeah, what a great point. And I mean true prevention, right? I mean, often in many circles I hear people talking about prevention. It's really about intervention where like somebody's already at the point where they're really about to make a bad decision and we kind of intervene. But if we can move upstream and just divert people from going that way anyway, then you say it saves them a lot of time and everyone around them heartache and struggle and all of those things. And so, yeah, I mean, in some ways it's unfortunate that we're talking about middle schoolers and getting this message out there, but that's the reality, right? So we're either going to ignore it or we're going to acknowledge it and do what needs to happen. So I really appreciate that. And hearing that and thinking about that and particularly, you're talking about the loss that I mean, it's clear that this is not easy work. It's not, I mean, there's emotion, a lot of emotion that goes with this and I mean, some of it may be obvious, but I'm curious as to beyond just Jesse asked you and you're like, sure. But why? I mean, that's the why you got into it. But why do you keep doing this, Dan? What drives you in this work?
Well, I'll tell you, being somebody who's suffered the woes of substance use disorder
Mm,
and the woes of implications with my mental health,
mm,
um, having the opportunity to bring this message, and to carry hope to
mm,
those who are struggling. So
Mhm.
it's the current person that struggles that really um, leads me to want to just stay fighting, keep the advocacy and awareness movement rolling full bore. Um,
Mhm.
it's when you get to see somebody who hasn't had a reason to smile for a really long time,
Mhm.
all of a sudden find, you know what, I can find my way back to loving myself again.
Ooh.
And that for me is that was my journey. I was not happy
Mhm.
being me for a very long time. And so finding finding that for myself, I really want to share that with others. and
Mhm.
and I'm sure you know as well that when you do see somebody who, you know, turns the corner and starts to realize that, you know what, not only am I worthy of a good life,
Mhm.
I can go out and I can get that and I can make it for myself. And that's what really keeps my heart pumping.
Man, that touches me because that I totally relate to all of that on both sides of it, right? Having been the the person who needed someone there to encourage and remind me that a better life was possible, and then to take that was invested in me and be able to share that with others. There's nothing more meaningful or purposeful in my experience of life to be able to do that, to share what's been given and to, I think about this word, people, I often hear other people say, oh, I appreciate you. But the term appreciate means actually to add value, right? And so if I take what's been invested to me and add to it, I am literally appreciating the value of what's been invested in me. And so I hear all of that happening at Students for Recovery and what you're sharing. And so thank you um, for not just being in some circles we talk about being a cul-de-sac versus a conduit, right? Like if I'm a cul-de-sac, all the investment ends here, but if I'm a conduit, it's just flowing through me out into those around me, and that to me is the true blessing, and that's exactly what I heard you just describe. That's super empowering and very beautiful. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Michael.
Yeah, I'm curious about how many folks are involved because as I mentioned, I've been to some events and I'll tell you, the first event I went to, I thought, recovery, it's, at the JC, probably not a bit. I can't even remember, but the room was packed and it was a big room. I was overwhelmed with the number of people that were involved in that. And so how big is this movement at the JC and beyond in the community?
Well, interestingly enough, there's a small group of dedicated folks that
Hmm.
that do the organizing and that do the implementing these events.
Hmm.
We have a student health services outreach student peers worker
Hmm.
who is also a huge part of Students for Recovery. My
Hmm.
friend Tova Espit, she is doing fascinating work. There's been a lot of advocacy efforts around here to we have a Narcan vending machine at the dormitory that is available for any students to just grab what they need, Narcan and other harm reduction stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there was a room full of about 80 people when you showed up for when I asked you to be a part of our event. And then more recently, at our Save the Youth event, which was a community event,
Hmm.
all events are open to community that Students
Hmm.
for Recovery do. Um, but we had over 200 people show up for
Holy
this event.
cow.
Yeah.
That is beautiful, man. I am sorry I missed that. That is amazing. Congratulations. How
Well,
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, and it was a you know an effort that took a lot of different. There was a lot of boots on the ground and
Mhm.
a lot of planning, but I think it's becoming more urgent in the community to stay connected.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was a beautiful thing to have. We had some live music, we
Mm,
had some food trucks,
mhm,
we had some amazing speakers. I got to do a Narcan training and make one of my fellow colleagues get non-responsive so that I could
mm,
Narcan them, and that was a
mm.
lot of fun. Um, we just, you know, this doesn't always have to be a sullen thing.
Right. Yeah.
Making positive change happen is positive. And it fills hearts when people see the efforts that are being made and they see that, you know what, I can educate my young person to
Hmm.
keep them safe. And you know what, I can also tell them, hey, if you got friends that are in trouble, you better tell them about this stuff
Hmm.
and what to be looking out for. And it's
Hmm.
really you know, that purpose driven work is
Hmm.
very fulfilling.
Yeah. Man, I love that what you just described. Just thinking about, it doesn't have to be, oh, let's sit around and let's be very serious and talk about the, I mean, who's going to show up at those things, right? You're not going to get 200 people to show up and sit around and talk about how awful the world is. But when you say, you could bring the awareness and make something that people want to come to, that they're just by virtue of being there, learning and growing and connecting, that in and of itself is addressing the problem. Just being in a positive environment, connecting with people. One of the things I've brought up a few times on this show, but it's always worth reminding, is that connection to other human beings is a preventative measure for every health outcome. Every health
Absolutely.
outcome, connecting to
Absolutely.
someone else will prevent all sorts of bad stuff. And so I love what you're talking about there, just bringing people together and making it something people want to come to, not they feel like they have to, or it's like, oh yeah, I need to go do that. It's like, no, hey, that sounds great. Let's go do that, right? Like that's super cool. And one of the things that was actually shocking to me that I really appreciate, of the many things I appreciate about Students for Recovery, that one of the events that I was there, you had the head of the Santa Rosa Police Department there. I'm sorry, the Santa Rosa JC Police Department
Mhm.
there, and you know, in my experience, those who are using substances and those who are enforcing the law often don't show up at the same events, or if they do, it's not a good thing, right? And so I love that he was there and he made it clear, and you can speak to this, but I mean, he seems sincere that he's like, we're not here to throw, we're here to help people, right? Like our job is to protect people, to help people. If there's a problem and someone's, in a bad situation, we're not going to be asking questions and look to cause more problems for people. We're there to support those folks and to help them get connected to what they need. And that was so beautiful to me. And I think that speaks to your leadership and the message um and the culture of Students for Recovery and what you're creating there, that they want to be a part of that, that they want to come and they want to share their message, and how important it is for those who are there to hear that, to know, if I see them coming, yeah, if I'm doing something wrong and it need to be addressed, sure, that's going to happen. And yet, if it's just a bad situation, and they're there to provide support. So I really appreciate how you bring the whole community together, not just those who are like, we're on our side and we want to work this out together. So yeah, anything else you want to say about that, about other folks that you've brought into the conversation? And
Sure. I mean, if I want to work to end the stigma of the way that look people look at those of us who suffer with substance use disorder, I sure better not be stigmatizing the guys
mm,
that are going to show up, in an emergency situation
mm,
to help out. And
mm,
yeah, Officer Brownlee, Chief Brownlee here at the college, is a great guy.
mm,
And he understands that uh, having people having people aware that, you know what, all of the officers that are walking around on campus, they all have Narcan in their belts.
mm,
It's part of the gig now. You got your
mm,
taser, that's for big troublemakers, but you got your
mm,
Narcan in case you're
mm.
just in trouble. Um,
Wow.
and for me, it's community is everything, and that was part of the tagline for our Save the Youth event, is that, we heal in community.
Hmm.
That's and that means everybody. If
Hmm.
there's somebody that's misunderstood or maybe shunned in any sort of way, I think it's the most important that they are included in that conversation and in that event. Um, it's, you know, I'm an idealist. I really want people to understand that we all work for each other.
Mm.
That's what humanity is when people understand that the well-being of all of us is more important than what do I get.
Yeah.
I think it's just a great example with bringing people that you might not expect to see at an event like that, bringing those
Hmm.
people into the fold.
Hmm.
Um, it it starts to break down those barriers that, like, yeah, if I'm in active addiction and doing my thing, I don't want to hang out with the cops, but you know
Hmm.
what? Um, they are people too,
Hmm.
and they have the capacity to think the way I do it, and just want
Hmm.
everybody to be there and to support each other and to love each other and be good to each other. Um, and so it's just I think it's a critical piece of bridging the gap, of filling in the gaps, is
Hmm.
to make sure that everybody knows that we work together to resolve issues. And if somebody gets pushed out of that circle,
Hmm.
well, they're sitting at the edge of addiction. They're sitting at the
Hmm.
edge of mental health struggles. It's when we bring them into the community that people are struggling with SUD stuff or mental health stuff say, you
Hmm.
know what, maybe I can be part of.
Hmm.
And in that process, um, you're giving people the opportunity to have positive change happen in their lives. And that's, you know, ultimately that's what my purpose in life is to try to help other people that struggle to see that life can be palatable, life can be amazing, life can be
Hmm.
blissful.
Hmm.
Just
Hmm.
include yourself and know that you're part of. That's a huge part of it.
My goodness, brother. I have always appreciated you, but this conversation has just opened my spectrum of appreciation for you. Hearing what you said about if I'm wanting to be a part of a group who I'm trying to destigmatize, that the last thing I want to do is just shift that onto somebody else. And so I think that is an incredibly important message for all of us. And I'm getting chills just right now thinking about like asking myself, how am I doing that, right? How am I pointing the finger at somebody else who's pointing the finger at me, or whatever that looks like. And so I really appreciate that, to think about, it's not an us versus them. It's a we versus our issues, right? Our collective issues.
Absolutely.
That is so cool.
Absolutely.
Man, I wish we had like 3 hours to talk, because I know there's so much good going on. I know there's so much more you could share. I wonder if we stories are so powerful, and I'm wondering if there's a story that sort of encapsulates what you do, something that maybe brings a smile to your face or a tear to your eye, or just kind of summarizes the work that you all do that you'd like to share with us today.
Something comes to mind, and it's a specific little story about I'm a more vintage student, but I get to work with some really young people here at the
Mhm.
college, right? And so we had a last year we had a 19-year-old club member who had been coming to our meetings and really embracing this harm reduction kind of idea, and becoming a big part of the club.
Mm.
She actually runs one of our meetings now. We've expanded. We've got a couple a week. But
Cool.
this young lady went down to a she's a party girl. She likes to party. She doesn't
Mhm.
use substances, but she goes to parties.
Mhm.
She's young. She likes to have fun,
Yeah.
and rightfully so.
Yep.
She went to Ocean Beach and with a bunch of kids down there, and of course, most of them were drinking,
Mhm.
and somebody happened to be dabbling in some other substances,
Mhm.
and one of them, bada boom, fell out at the
Ay, ay,
party, went
ay.
ahead and went into opioid overdose at the
Oof.
party. And this young lady was practicing what she was preaching, and she had her Narcan in
Mm.
the box of her car. She was able to run and grab that and bring somebody back. She also was able, it's kids are not always super intelligent. Some of the kids were like, "Hey, you can't call 911.
Yeah.
The cops
Yeah.
are going to come." And she was able to bring the knowledge of the Good Samaritan law in the state of California. She was able to
Mm.
give them that information because she was
Wow.
creating awareness. And that kid is still breathing today,
Wow.
because of her efforts and the fact that I got it in my backpack. I carry it everywhere. I got it in the car. That's just the way I roll. I've never had to use it personally,
Yeah.
but yeah, that story, it reminds me that life is precious, and
Mm.
it's only precious, and it's only promised if people are watching out for each other. And
Man.
and to have that young lady, be watching out and to be able to keep somebody alive, that's my life is purposeful today because of her actions.
Uh, no kidding. Yeah, thinking of, I mean, my mind is just exploding with the possibilities. Had she not been there, had she not been a part of this club, had she not been carrying Narcan, on and on and on, all the things that led to that moment. And then not only, I mean, not the least of which by any means that that child is still alive, that person is still alive, and the impact that it would have had on their family and their friends, and that that whole devastation circle that was averted. But also what you said there, that education piece for all those who were there who now know that if
Yeah.
they're in that situation again when she's not there, that they call the police. That's they're good, right? Like that's not going to be an issue going forward for any of those people to go, oh well, I can't, or just leave or whatever. So, man,
Right.
thank you. I think that is a perfect illustration of exactly what is happening there. Um, that is expanding out into the community to not only save lives but transform the lives of those who are continuing to live, right? So, how beautiful. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much, Dan. Thank you.
Absolutely, Michael. Absolutely.
Um, well, that concludes our interview portion, and we
Right.
thank you so much for that, and we will put in the show notes for folks contact information for Students for
Great.
Recovery if people want to get connected with that, to refer folks, get to support it whatever way they're able to do so and want to do so, to learn about the events, all of that. Um, so thank you.
Of course.
Um, and then so to just kind of pivot here towards the end of the show, one of the things that Chris and I do is kind of talk about what are you looking forward to? What do you see coming up in your immediate future that's a highlight for you on the horizon?
Well, I've been doing this school thing for first. That is also a purpose-driven event. Okay, me
Mhm.
being here at the Santa Rosa Junior College,
Yeah,
and I have been studying addiction studies for several years. I'm scheduled to get my associate's degree after the spring semester
awesome.
in addiction. And so, but part of that is that I get to go to work. I get to go to work the end of this week. I am one of Sonoma County's newest SUD counselors, and I'm really excited to be able to actually make this purpose driven life into also an opportunity for employment,
Yeah,
and an opportunity to continue to carry the message that we heal in community. I hope I'm really able to bring some people together around a table, even if it's at a rehab. Those people need
Yeah.
support, they need direction, and I'm excited to work with some people that are trying to make their lives right.
That is beautiful, man. I'm so excited for you. Thank you for sharing that. That is cool. I can't
Of
wait to hear more
course.
about that as it unfolds.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So I will say for me, everyone's busy. I've been busy. I have a friend that we've been trying to connect for a long time to meet up for coffee, and it seems like that's actually going to happen. So we've worked in similar circles for a long time. We've been in groups together. We've been in meetings. We email back and forth, but we've never sat down and just been in each other's presence to chat. And so that's coming up. And you talk about connection. That's exactly why I enjoy doing these things because they're whatever comes out of that moment is going to be meaningful, right? And purposeful just in building those connections that strengthen my own recovery and my own mental health, but then also community and just enjoying that. So I'm super looking forward to that.
Right on,
Um,
Michael.
Awesome. Well, thank you all again for joining us. I know you were encouraged by this story. I know that you are not only encouraged but challenged to go out there and share this message, and we definitely encourage you to do so. Also, if you happen to know someone who may be a good guest for us in the future, please feel free to send that to us. We will put we'll have the email address in the notes. If you have feedback about the show, anything you want to share, please do so. So again, thank you, Dan. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for coming to be with us, and most of all, thank you for being you, man. You are a huge encouragement and inspiration. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, Michael. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. So the way we like to close out the show is to remind folks to be looking around and keep looking for the good. And if you don't see any, go make some.
Beautiful.
All right. Thank you all. We will see you next time.